Now, if you don't know who Alessandro Michele is, or you don't know much about what he's done at Gucci, I actually made a video about this, which is something that I'll definitely recommend you check out. And for those who are not familiar with the North Face, which would be a bit strange, it's kind of like an outerwear outdoor company, and it later expanded into different things like accessories and footwear and so on. Now, North Face is a brand that we've seen collaborate with all types of different brands across the board, whether we're looking at streetwear with the collabs they've had with Supreme and Palace, or they've collaborated with like Gore-Tex to make better waterproof materials. We've seen a lot of collaborations between Junya Watanabe and the North Face. And I think with the Junya Watanabe collaboration, it made a lot of sense because Junya's work is very workwear inspired. And aesthetically, I think it worked well to merge with North Face. But I didn't really think, and I never really saw the North Face have sort of a high-end, sort of in an avant-garde way, a sort of twist until the MM6 collection, which I really loved. And it's a shame that that stuff was women's wear, because if I could fit in that stuff, I definitely would have bought a lot from the MM6 collection, where it had interesting shapes, interesting cuts, and of course, very, very interesting garment choices. And I think aesthetically, looking at this Gucci collaboration, it's very, very outlandish to anything I've really seen North Face produce. The very similar sort of outlandish things I've seen is when they collaborate with the likes of Supreme, but that's not really outlandish. It's just really block colors and Supreme text. I don't necessarily see, you know, loads of loud prints and patterns. This is the first time I've seen that. So this is already unique in that regard. Now, when it comes to collaborations, I think there's a huge misconception on what collaboration should look like. To me personally, I think every collaboration should be a fusion between the two brands coming together to make products. So in this case, it's a fusion between what Gucci is making and what North Face is making. Now, a lot of times, and this reminds me of when Yohji Yamamoto collaborated with Supreme. I'm talking about Supreme a lot, but follow me here. People expected it to be supremely avant-garde, when really it was just things that are very true to the Yohji Yamamoto brand, done in a very streetwear and Supreme way. And that to me is the perfect fusion between Yohji Yamamoto and Supreme. I don't know what people expected that collaboration to be. I really don't understand. So in this case, we're getting things like, you know, the Nupsies, the general North Face jackets that are, you know, big hits, and then we are adding just Gucci prints and, you know, Gucci patterns on it. And now, why that makes a lot of sense, and why that makes perfect sense to me at least, is because Gucci is not really a brand that's known for innovation in terms of silhouette. It's not Comme des Garçons, it's not Maison Margiela, it's not, you know, those type of avant-garde brands. They're not creating new silhouettes. I think what makes Gucci strong, especially since Alessandro Michele has been their styling and the way they style things in this sort of grandma chic aesthetic that I really like that they do, and I think it's very refreshing to see. So when it comes to a collaboration like this, they can't really do much other than work with the silhouettes of the North Face jacket and then just add their prints and patterns to it, as well as, you know, style it in the way that they would. Now, to look at some of the pieces in this collection, I did like a lot of aspects to it, like the puffer skirts. Now, puffer skirts are nothing new. I've seen puffer skirts in Moncler Genius collabs. But it is kind of a good take, obviously, because the puffer material is very true to the North Face brand. However, I don't like the branding, and this is across the whole collaboration, this big, the North Face Gucci logo that's plastered everywhere. It's just a bit tasteless for me. They could have, if they made it smaller, I think it would have looked slightly better, more premium. And I think moving on to the hiking boots, I really did like the hiking boots. Once again, the branding is just a bit too much for me. If it was a bit more subtle, they could have made it be known that it's a North Face Gucci collab in a different way. Maybe make some sort of puffer material boot within Gucci colors or a little Gucci print. I think I prefer that to just big block text. Block text like that, to me, it just never really looks fantastic. And I think that's kind of the ongoing theme when it comes to the t-shirts and, you know, the beanies and all the other accessories. And what I did find very, very interesting was the fact that they made sort of these tents and sleeping bags as part of the collaboration. That's very true to the North Face. The North Face, once again, the origins of it is really about expedition and outerwear and outdoors and wearing outerwear outdoors that lasts. It's not till recently that North Face has decided to become sort of like a lifestyle brand, which I get it. If it makes a lot of money, it keeps the big business and the conglomerates happy. So let's talk about the inspiration for this collection. Alessandro Michele actually talked about how it was inspired by the 1970s. And it is actually common knowledge that he loves the 1970s. It's a period of fashion that fascinates him and he's really inspired by, and you can definitely see that in the styling and the aesthetic of his vision of Gucci that currently exists. And he wanted to kind of base this collection with the North Face on the original designs from the 1970s decades. And it features these sort of bright colors and floral prints, as you can see on the screen and I've shown you previously. And of course, there is a prevalence of this logo mania that we have become accustomed to when it comes to Gucci. I don't like it or love it, but it is just what sells. And right now, fashion is all about business. Do I really like that too much? Not necessarily, but I do get it. Now, there is a proposed debut of this collection on the 29th of December in China. And as far as the UK is concerned, there will be a launch on the 4th of January in Selfridges. Now, I don't know how accurate that is, because with the whole situation, with the pandemic and all those things, I'm not sure how they're going to really do that. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. But either way, do look out for the collection. I do want to see the pieces in person. I think what would make me more excited is if they're using more interesting fabrics when I feel it, and the fabrics seem more premium than just a normal North Face jacket, because I know the price point will be through the roof. So those are the type of things that really interest me. So yeah, those are just my little thoughts on the Gucci North Face collaboration. It's something I really wanted to just touch on quickly, because this is literally the first time Alessandro Michele under Gucci has collaborated with a whole nother brand. So I just thought this is really interesting to talk about. Would I buy any piece in this collection? Probably not. One, because I can't afford it, but even if I could afford it, it's not necessarily my style. I would rather just buy a normal plain North Face nupsy. My style is more like, not super avant-garde, but more just out there, interesting silhouettes like the MM6 stuff. Kind of imagine if Comme des Garçons Unplugged did a collaboration with North Face. That would be kind of my vibe. But either way, one thing about fashion, just because I don't have a personal preference for something doesn't mean it's inherently bad, and doesn't mean other people can't like it. When it comes to Gucci's, the Gucci pieces I like the suits. I like some of the shapes and the colors of the suits. And that sort of vintage Italian style, I really like it. I like the sunglasses that Gucci make. I really like some of the shapes and some of the frames, and also the footwear. Gucci footwear is amazing, like whether we're talking about the horsebit loafers or the different types of loafers. I do like Gucci loafers. So those are the type of Gucci pieces I'll buy, just to get a sense of why this collaboration isn't my style. But yeah, I think on that note, comment down below what your thoughts are. I really want to know if people think it was safe, or if it was too commercial, or if Alessandro Michele could have done more, or the Gucci team, because the Gucci team is not just Alessandro Michele. But yeah, on that note, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. And of course, if you want to support the channel, you can support me by subscribing to my Patreon. That will be in the description below. And I do actually finally have a schedule that I'm going to be using to post on Patreon, because I know I've been a bit inconsistent there. But yeah, on that note, thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back with another video very soon. Before I go, I just realized I forgot to say a point, that I feel like performance outerwear is sort of becoming the new normal in fashion. So if we look at brands like Arc'teryx, or if you look at brands like North Face or Canada Goose, these are all brands that started as, being things performance-based, whether it's keeping you warm when skiing or in really cold climates, and they've all kind of embraced this lifestyle sort of sphere that they've been put into. And I just find it really fascinating. You see people on the street wearing Valence and all this Arc'teryx stuff and the North Face in warm weather. It's all really interesting, and that's why you see all these brands collaborating with high fashion brands and streetwear brands. I think it's just all really interesting. And it's something that fascinates me. I'm gonna look more into it. But yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to add. It almost reminds me of like Moncler, because Moncler Genius, they have that Grenoble, how do French people say? Grenoble. Probably said that wrong, but I think that's how guys say it. I normally say Grenoble, but I do know it's pronounced Grenoble. But anyway, that line, it's about performance as much as it is about aesthetic. And I hope that all these brands, when they collaborate with high fashion brands, they don't forget about the performance aspect and the quality aspect. Yeah, that's all I had to add. Thank you very much for watching.